In a quiet forest where sunlight filters softly through the canopy, lived a mother bird named Leora. She had built her nest high in the strong branches of an old oak tree, carefully lining it with soft moss and feathers. In her nest rested 3 fragile eggs, each one speckled like tiny drops of dawn. Leora often thought of what lay beyond the forest, the world full of dangers, storms, and surprises. Yet, despite the unknown, she felt a quiet pride and a deep sense of responsibility. These eggs were not just fragile shells, they were the promise of life, a hope that one day they would take flight and explore the skies. She spent her days tending to the eggs, turning them gently with her beak, whispering soft melodies to them. Even the wind seemed to pause when she sang, as though listening to the tender lullabies of a devoted mother. But one day, as clouds gathered far on the horizon, a sense of unease settled over the forest. The wind whispered warnings through the leaves, and Leora felt a shiver of anticipation. Something was coming, a storm unlike any she had seen before. The morning of the storm began with distant rumbles. Leora perched on the edge of her nest, her feathers ruffled by sudden gusts. The sky darkened, clouds rolling in thick and heavy. Rain began to patter lightly at first, like tiny fingers tapping the leaves, but soon it grew relentless. The wind picked up, shaking the branches beneath the nest. Leora clung to her eggs, using her body to shield them. Her heart pounded that she refused to abandon them. Each gust threatened to topple the nest. Each flash of lightning illuminated the vulnerability of the tiny life she protected. Hours passed, and the storm raged with no sign of letting up. Rain poured in sheets, turning the forest floor into a river of mud. Thunder cracked across the sky like rolling drums. Leora flapped her wings against the wind, adjusting her position to keep the eggs warm and safe. She noticed one branch, the very one holding her nest, begin to splinter. Fear gripped her, yet she refused to leave. She whispered to her eggs as if her voice alone could give them strength. She thought of the first time she had flown, of how her own mother had shielded her, and drew strength from the legacy of protection passed through generations. Suddenly, a shadow appeared nearby, a flock of other birds, struggling against the storm. One by one, they found their way to Leora's oak tree, circling around her. It was as if the forest itself had sent reinforcements. Leora felt a surge of hope. The flock worked together, their wings forming a living barrier against the wind, supporting the fragile branches and shielding the nest. Though they were strangers, their instinct to help was undeniable. Leora realized that courage was not just about standing alone. It could also mean accepting help when it mattered most. After what felt like an eternity, the storm began to subside. The wind grew gentler, the rain softened to a drizzle, and rays of sunlight pierced the grey clouds. Leora's nest had survived. Exhausted, she gazed down at her eggs, which remained unbroken, safe beneath her wings. She felt a deep, overwhelming gratitude, not just for the survival of her eggs, but for the reminder that even in the fiercest storms, courage and community could prevail. Days later, the forest seemed renewed. Fresh green leaves glistened under the sun, and the air was filled with the songs of birds celebrating life. One morning, Leora's eggs began to stir. Tiny cracks appeared, followed by small, determined beaks breaking free. Leora watched as her chicks emerged, wet and trembling, yet alive. She had shielded them from the storm, and now she would teach them to face the world with courage, just as she had. Looking up at the sky, Leora felt a gentle wind brush against her feathers. It carried the whisper of storms past and promises of adventures to come. She realized that protection was not only about guarding against danger, it was also about nurturing strength, hope, and resilience. With a soft chirp, she nudged her chicks into the world, ready to guide them as they learned to spread their own wings. And in that moment, Leora understood that love, courage, and determination were the true forces that could weather any storm.